Welcome back to Ox Tools. I'm Tom. Well, we're going to take a second look at the zombie chuck here. Mr. Bozo didn't agree with some of my methodologies, so we're going to kind of go back through and check a couple of things. And you know, this is the power of the internet working for you, right? I showed this on Instagram, and then I had the video, and then a viewer back in Pennsylvania said, "Hey, guess what? I got a set of 18N chuck jaws and a new nut. Been sitting on my shelf for 20 years or whatever, I don't know. And you want it?" And I said, okay, because as you guys remember from the first video, you know, one of these jaws is in pretty rough shape, okay? So that's Tom Fleming. And he's, let's see, what's his, old iron, oh no, vintage iron doctor, back in Pennsylvania. So Tom, thank you very much for sending these into the show. This is great. This is just the kit I needed here. And we're gonna go ahead and put this in. I gotta clean out some of that cosmoline or whatever that is. And actually this is, kind of speaks to what we were talking about in the first video. There's a little sheet in here that tells you how to get the jaws timed correctly. So I had mentioned the jaw timing, and I didn't remember how to do it. I just numbered them when they came out because I knew they worked, and then put them back the same way. But this kind of tells you the little legend of how to decide the order of the jaws. So Mr. Bozo didn't like the that I didn't check the run out on this after I put it all back together. So let's do that first. We're going to do the quick test on that first, and see what the run out looks like on this. And you know, guys, this is set up for a lathe here, so you know, kind of a stationary application as opposed to a rotating application. But I think I thought of a way that we can check it in relation to the jaws to the mounting arbor, okay? And so we're gonna go do that on the lathe, and we'll do that real quick, and then we'll bust this thing down again and stick this new jaw set in, and Bob's your uncle. So, Mr. Bozo, is that gonna work for you? Glad to hear it. Yeah, okay. So the maximum capacity of that chuck is 3/4, so ooh, we don't want that run out. All right. Let's take a skim off of that, and then that's true to the machine pretty good. This on here. Let's open that up. Now these are the old jaws, so these are the old crusty jaws. Is that okay? Get that on there. Give it a little hand tight, and then we're just going to put this in the little center in the rear of the rear end here. Lock the tailstock down, and then we'll do the pedantic tightening method here, where we go around and hit all the different pockets, just to keep Mr. Bozo happy. We'll go back the other way. All right, that's pretty tight. Okay, the center's engaged a little bit. All right, let's stick an indicator on that and see what we get. Let's get that lined up so you guys are optimized there. What am I seeing? 3.5? 3.5. Yeah, almost 4. Okay, so what, that's 2,000 out of off center. Let's go over here. Let's check it at this spot here. Back on the taper a little bit. All right, let's go around so you guys can have a looky. How about that? Let's see. No, that's a better one there. That looks better. Okay, so yeah, that's like 4 thou total indicator reading. So you know what? I don't even know what the specs for these are, so I don't know how that actually compares. And you know, is this a real world test? Not sure. You know, like I said, this gets used in a lathe. If we put it in a drill press or a you know, radial drill or something like that, it you know, it would depend on the actual run out of the taper this is mating for. There's some other things that kind of add to that. But let's pop it apart again, and let's stick them nice new jaws from Tom Fleming in there, and then we'll redo this test and see how it looks. Oh, we get to use this thing again. Now I think I'm going to leave the arbor on it this time. I'm going to see if I can get away with leaving the arbor on it this time. And try that. Sure, I don't do anything. Drop it on the floor. Okay. I think we got it. Oh, you know what? This is actually good because those bearings are trapped right now. I'm going to take this over to the bench so I don't spill my balls. Okay. Well, I don't know what. I think it just kind of falls apart, right? Now that's got grease in it, everything's kind of retained. Suppose I could. I love the instructions, right? So it actually tells you how to take it apart here too. To take chuck apart, extend jaws to half capacity, press sleeve off, of body, take out nut. Remove balls carefully? No. Okay. All right, so there we go. Getting pretty close. Yeah, see the race is. Okay. All right, well, let's clean all this stuff up and go from there. All right, we're all set to put it back together, and everything's kind of clean. I cleaned all the new old grease out from the last go around with the funky jaws. So we're going to put these new ones in that viewer sent in. And what I want to do is I want to show you the difference between the jaws and kind of, I've got them numbered here, 1, 2, 3, but I want to show you what the differences are. It's pretty subtle, but important to the assembly order when you're doing one of these Jacobs chucks. So let's get in nice and tight here, and then I'll point out the differences on each of the jaws. So the area that we're looking at here is right at this kind of last thread, and so if you think about these are kind of buttress threads here, and they have to be timed correctly, right? Or else one jaw is ahead or behind another, right? So I assume when they make these, they have some fixture that these sit on that's like a cone or something that kind of mimics the cone of the chuck body. And then they run some threading operation over that, and then that becomes a set of jaws. So there's some stop. All right, stay there, you little bugger. There's some stop or something that locates the reference surface, you know, where that holds the drill, and then they thread it and off you go. So you can see there, that's a full groove, that's got a flat, and that has a teeny tiny flat. And if we look at their mysterious little legend map, right? You can kind of see what they're saying there. And then we put these in order 1, 2, 3 in a clockwise orientation. I think it's clockwise. Yeah, clockwise. And I got to believe that's facing the chuck. So they don't really say that, but that's where we're going. Okay. Okay. Re-lube some of these surfaces. Position it a little better, so just filling notches on top here. Okay. Okay, still looks good there. Okay, take this off carefully. And our sleeve. Okay, so now our balls, now our balls are trapped. Always a good thing. All right, so that's gonna go in there. So, and that goes up there, and then Mr. Gronk comes in. All right, so now, actually, a viewer reminded me that the way to figure out how far to drop this down, and it's pretty obvious actually, and I just didn't remember, is you try the key here. Okay, so it's not fully going in this way, so I'm gonna push that sleeve just to, you know what, further, and until it's just nice and free but not wiggly. Does that make sense? You know, free but not wiggly. Okay, I think that's it right there. It feels pretty good. Let's check them all. Because I know there's some guys out there screaming, you better check them all. Actually, you know what? I might just go a little further. I think I'm just gonna go whisker. Just a whisker fit. Okay. Try that again. Okay, I'm happy. So there it is with the new jaws. So let's go check that run out again, see if we improved it. I think we were 4 thousandths before. So let's see what we got now. So I changed the setup around a little bit. I went on the Jacobs website, and I wanted to look up what the specs were on this chuck. And the way they stated it was kind of interesting. They stated it as 3 thousandths total indicator reading at half capacity. So, which I thought was kind of interesting because I was kind of trying to run it at its larger capacity. So this one has a capacity of 3/4 of an inch, okay, and so I was, running it reasonably close to that. But actually, if you think about it, the way the jaws are supported in there, half capacity actually probably gives you one of a better reading, I guess, is what I would say. So we got the new jaws in, we put it all back together, it's all pretty happy. So let's kind of check out the run out. So what I've done here, the other thing I did was this is a piece of 1/2 inch diameter hardened linear shaft. Okay, so this is hard. And this thing was soft, and I had noticed that after chucking this on there aggressively, it was leaving marks in that may have affected the indicator reading as well. So let's just try this. I dialed this in pretty carefully, and so it doesn't add to the problem here. So let's get the tail stuck in there. So I got no way to spin this in kind of a mill situation, so this is the best way I can kind of check this here. So we're going to do the 3 hit all the holes here, the pedantic tightening method, even though most of us don't tighten the chuck up that way. Okay, so let's get a little bit on that. All right, let's see what we got here. So there's the low. That's 3. Actually, a little less than that. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to call that 3 there. Let's see what we got over here. So, and that's about 3 there too. So, let me reseat that. Try that again. Give it a little spin here, and see if we can influence it all. Okay. And then let's give that a little, just a whisker of pressure there. Just enough to keep it in the middle there, okay. It's 2.5, okay, so it's a little different. I'll bring you in a little closer too, and change the exposure so you can see the indicator yourself. All right, let's see here. There's this low. Yeah, 2.5, something like that, okay. All right, let me scoot over here. Yeah, 2.5. So that's not bad for a zombie chuck. So we may rename this one the Lazarus chuck, because it's come back from the dead, right? So hopefully Mr. Bozo approves of the rebuild job. And thanks for all your views and your enthusiasm about fixing this chuck up.